The U.S. House of Representatives will file impeachment charges against President Donald Trump for alleged abuse of power, and that's according to the Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, even though President Trump has denied the allegation. Let's head to our London studios now, where Simon Pusey has more international news in Around the World in 5.
Good evening from the Channel's newsroom here in London. Impeachment proceedings against the US President Donald Trump have moved a step forward. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi, says articles are now being drafted, opening the door to a formal vote.
The facts are uncontested. The President abused his power for his own personal political benefit at the expense of our national security by withholding military aid and crucial Oval Office meeting in exchange for an announcement of an investigation into his political rival. The President leaves us no choice but to act, because he is trying to corrupt, once again, the election for his own benefit. The President has engaged in abuse of power, undermining our national security and jeopardizing the integrity of our elections.
President Trump was quick to react on Twitter, saying the do-nothing radical left Democrats have just announced that they are going to seek to impeach me over nothing. This will mean that the beyond important and seldom used act of impeachment will be used routinely to attack future presidents. That is not what our founders had in mind. The good thing is that the Republicans have never been more united. We will win. France is being crippled by the biggest wave of industrial action to hit the country in decades. Millions of people are taking part in a 5-day strike, which has been marred by pockets of violence. Police fired tear gas to control crowds in Nantes as protesters, dressed head to toe in black, targeted store windows and hurled bricks at security forces. The nationwide strike, which is severely disrupting schools and public transport, is in response to a government plan to introduce a new pension system. The walkout is also having a huge impact on tourism. Eurostar, which was forced to cancel almost 100 train services, has stopped issuing tickets between now and Tuesday. And even if tourists make it to the French capital, there's disappointment.
We want to go on the Eiffel Turm, but it's closed today. I don't know how long it's closed.
It's kind of sad, like we came here just to see that, and we're leaving tomorrow morning, so we're gonna have a second chance.
Samoa has closed all non-essential public and private services for 2 days to combat a deadly measles epidemic. More than 60 people, mostly babies and young children, have been killed by the virus. 54 of the victims were aged 4 years or younger.
It's very hard to lose a child. Sorry.
Some of those children are dying in front of us, in front of them and in front of other families in the intensive care unit.
The battle has been complicated by a vocal anti-vaccination movement, but with more than 4,200 people being infected, medical teams have been going door to door to vaccinate those susceptible to the highly contagious disease. The government is urging families to hang a red cloth or flag outside their homes as a signal for help. 8 people, including 4 children, have been killed in a gas explosion in Poland. A series of blasts destroyed a house in a ski resort in the south of the country. The local gas distributor says there was a sudden drop in pressure before the explosion, which could indicate the pipeline had been accidentally punctured during nearby construction works. A US Navy sailor has killed 2 people at the Pearl Harbor military base before fatally shooting himself. A third victim is said to be in a stable condition in hospital. All 3 were civilians working for the Department of Defense. The US Navy gave no motive for the shooting.
This is certainly a tragedy for everyone here, but certainly our sincere thoughts are with the families of the victims and everyone involved.
Huawei has opened another front in its battle against the US government. The Chinese telecoms giant has filed a lawsuit against the Federal Communications Commission in a bid to overturn an order. Last month, the FCC identified the company as a security threat and moved to bar it from a government subsidy program. Huawei is challenging the decision, saying it runs against the principle of due process because it wasn't given the chance to defend itself. The Greek Air Force has released video of a rescue in the Aegean Sea. The crew of a Liberian-flagged vessel sent a distress signal requesting to abandon ship after it started sailing uncontrollably between the islands of Lesbos and Skyros due to an engine failure. The ship was listing after its cargo of steel shifted in gale-force winds. 10 people were rescued from the ship and another 4 men were reached to safety from a lifeboat. And finally, a video from Turkey shows the hazards of driving in the rain, no matter how slow you go. This vehicle, though, is carrying slightly more than most. The driver is carefully navigating a corner with the blade of a wind turbine and, despite taking his time, still loses control. The site was cleared just 3 hours later. And that's your international news around the world in 5.
Many thanks, Simon. To some sports news now. Ayotunde is standing by.
Many thanks, Melinda. The Nigeria Football Federation, the NFF, has thrown its support for Super Falcons striker and FC Barcelona star Azizat Oshola, who is striving to help young female players attain laudable heights in education and football. The former African Footballer of the Year is organising a football championship for girls at the Campus Mini Stadium in Lagos to help discover more female football stars in the country. According to the organisers, the MVP player of the tournament will be given football scholarship training to Spain, while the outstanding 23 players will be enrolled in the FC Barcelona Academy in Lagos by the Oshola Foundation.
Where the main goal is, first of all, to give all these girls a good experience and try to keep developing their passion for the game. We know they are here with ambition to be professional players, but first of all, we want them to enjoy football, and if they enjoy football, they will play more time, so they will increase their abilities. At the same time, we want to promote our values. The final goal of this project is to try to find the best talents and give them opportunities at professional level. At the same time, in Barca Academy Lagos, we are looking to create an under-18 female team.
Everton Football Club have sacked manager Marco Silva after 18 months, with the club in the English Premier League relegation zone after their Merseyside derby humiliation. Now, Wednesday's 5-2 defeat by Merseyside giants Liverpool at Anfield was their 9th of the season, and that leaves them 18th in the Premier League after 3 successive losses. Silva, who took charge in May of 2018, won 24 and lost 24 of his 60 games. Former striker Duncan Ferguson has been put in temporary charge and will manage the side against Chelsea FC on Saturday. The club said they aim to appoint a new manager as swiftly as possible. In the English Premier League, an early header by Alan Saint-Maximin and a controversial Jonjo Shelvey goal has given Newcastle United a smash-and-grab 2-0 win at Sheffield United in the Premier League. Well, that win moves them to 11th position, but they are level on points with their opponents, Sheffield United, on 19. Now, the VAR reviewed the goal scored by Carroll as onside, but Shelvey raced clear and steered the ball past goalkeeper Dean Henderson after the linesman had raised his flag, and the home team defenders went with the on-pitch decision. In the other game currently played at the Emirates, Arsenal trailed Brighton and Hove Albion by 2-1 with just a few minutes left to play. Brighton and Hove Albion are looking to win at the Emirates for the first time in their history in the English Premier League. Well, that's a wrap on sports news. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. It's back to you, Melinda, for the wrap.
Many thanks, Ayo. And the main news again. The Department of State Services today released the convener of Revolution Now protests, Omoyele Sowore, and his co-defendant, Wale Bakare, after 124 days in his custody. The service complied with a 24-hour strict deadline of the Federal High Court in Abuja. Also today, a Federal High Court in Lagos convicted former Abia State Governor and serving Senator Orji Uzor Kalu on a 7.65 billion naira fraud and sentenced him to 12 years behind bars. And Speaker Nancy Pelosi today confirmed that the U.S. House will file impeachment charges against U.S. President Donald Trump for alleged abuse of power. That's the news at 10 tonight. I'm Melinda Akinlami. On behalf of the team, good night.